Namaskaram. Mahabharatam. We are in the middle of uh, several battles. When the Kauravas went with a huge army and with all the veterans like Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, Karna, Duryodhana, all the Kaurava veterans, they went and we said that Duryodhana tried to go away with the cattle. He captured from the Matsya kingdom, but then Arjuna went and intercepted him, released the cattle, and fought with Duryodhana and defeated him. And there were a series of individual battles which we shall quickly go through. First, Arjuna asks Virata, Uttara, to drive to where Drona was. Drona's, by the by, in a battlefield with a large army on either side, it's very difficult to see the chariot and who is in it. The one thing you can sure of be is that their mast, the banner. So that is why the banner and the symbol on it is important, because that can be seen even from a distance and identified. So Arjuna asked Uttara to drive to Drona's chariot. The banner had the symbol of a kamandulu, which is a kindi in Malayalam, used to pour water on religious occasions, kamandulu. And when Arjuna was face to face with his teacher Drona, he exchanged greetings, the usual courtesy that he withdraws a little bit and goes forward again and sends 2 arrows at his feet and 2 arrows whizzing past his ears. And if he is near enough, he speaks, he greets his teacher in words. By the by, Drona was the son of Bharadwaja, sage Bharadwaja. He was a very famous sage, a Vedic sage. In Rigveda, out of the 10 mandalas, one full mandala, the 6th, was contributed by Bharadwaja and his disciples and children in his group. And the same Bharadwaja is attributed with the aircraft design in those days. Somebody has come across a manuscript which contained aircraft design attributed to sage Bharadwaja, which has been published, Vimana Shastram or some such name. And that is about Bharadwaja got Drona in the Apsara by name Ghritachi. Ghritachi was one of the 7. Urvashi, Menaka, Rambha, Ghritachi, Tilotama, Sukeshi, Manju Ghosha. These are the 7 most famous Apsaras. And Drona was born in Girtaji to Bharadwaja. When Arjuna was face to face with Drona, again Indra came to see the fight with other gods, Gandharvas, Apsaras, etc. After the initial exchange of greetings, the fight starts, and the usual sending of one arrow, then 10 arrows, and the other one sending 20 in return. All those were there, and they sent divine arrows, and the other Divyastra, and the other sends the appropriate defenses against that. Though they were Guru and Shishya, and both were very fond of each other. Drona was very fond of Arjuna, had a soft corner, and Arjuna was very devoted, very humble in front of his teacher. But in battle, they fought fiercely. Their aim was to be one step above the other. The student above his teacher, and the teacher trying to be above the student. And after a fierce battle, when Drona's charioteer and horses were killed, Ashwatthama came with another chariot and sent Drona in it. And there was a fierce fight between Arjuna and Ashwatthama. After a prolonged battle, Arjuna, because he had a quiver which was inexhaustible of arrows, whereas Ashwatthama didn't have that. Ashwatthama's arrows were exhausted, and Karna comes to his rescue. Karna comes and makes sound with his bow, that twang twang sound when the bowstring is pulled hard and released. And Arjuna turned to his side and faced Karna. This was the second time. Initially itself, when Karna came to the rescue of Duryodhana, there was a fierce fight between Arjuna and Karna was defeated. And this time also, the Karna's horses were killed, and Arjuna's arrows pierces through Karna's armor, and another arrow pierces through his chest. With acute pain, Karna runs away from the battlefield. That ends Arjuna's fight with Karna. And then there were a couple of Sankula Yuddha. Sankula means mixed or group. That several of the Kaurava veterans came in group and invaded Arjuna. Normally, the rule is that it should be either one to one or many to many, but it was not considered right for many to attack one single person. But it happens often, and they attacked Arjuna. At this instance, Uttara became terrified with all the noise, clamor that happens in such wars. First of all, looking at the fight, Uttara himself said that I have never seen such great warriors fighting. They pull arrows and sends arrows. The speed with which they send, speed and force with which they send arrows. These are all first time he's seeing. And so, what is it called? Such a huge army. So altogether, it took to Uttara's nerves. So he refused to go to the battlefield. But then Arjuna persuaded him, encouraged him, saying that he was the prince of Matsya, the son of the famous warrior Virata. Virata was known to be an excellent warrior. And ultimately, Arjuna managed to instill courage in Uttara. And in the Sankula Yuddham, Arjuna defeated all the Kaurava veterans. It was Dushasana with 3 other brothers who first encircled Arjuna. They were defeated and dispatched away from the battlefield, and then several other warriors came. When they all were defeated by Arjuna, Arjuna asked Uttara to drive to Bhishma. Bhishma was very old by then. He was past 80. If you remember the story, Bhishma was the son of who was the first Kaurava king, I forget the name, born in goddess Ganga. There were 8 of the Vasus who were born, and Ganga, as per the promises made to them, he killed them all. And when the 8th was to be, Ganga was about to throw him into the river, then the Kaurava king, Shantanu, blocked Ganga, stopped Ganga, saying, oh, this is very unfair, what are you doing? And then Ganga said, okay, I shall not kill him because you have objected. But there was an understanding between them that Shantanu would never object to anything Ganga did, and the day he did that, Ganga would go back, and Ganga went back. But Ganga took this, the 8th son with her to heaven and got him trained under the best teacher in each respective fields. And the main teacher was Brihaspati himself. Brihaspati is Suracharya, the teacher of the gods, even in warfare and in the the ancient texts. So Bhishma had the best education in the scriptures, in warfare. On top of that, he also had the blessing of Swachhanda Mrityu, that Bhishma would die only when he wanted. So he should simply say, I don't want to live anymore. Until then, he wouldn't die. So he was a formidable warrior. So far, nobody could defeat him. But he could face temporary drawbacks, and that's what happened with Arjuna this time also. Uh, yeah, the fierce battle was there, and they exchanged large number of divine weapons, and at the end, Arjuna's 10 arrows pierced through Bhishma's armor, entered his chest, and Bhishma was swooned. He took support on the mast, and then other Kauravas took him away. And that was the end of the Kauravas' attempt to go away with the Matsya cattle wealth. I think with the next episode, the Virata Parvam hopefully will end. We end today. Namaskaram.